Why people actually hate Asmongold. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. It's actually a really good video? Okay, alright.
I find it quite strange how a lot of people on the internet just jump to conclusions without any hint of evidence. It's sad
They're stupid. Mystery solved.
to see how critical thinking seems almost endangered among the chronically online. A lot of people just follow trends of hatred without actually taking the time to find evidence to back up their accusations. Just because a lot of people are saying something doesn't make it true. We've seen this happen with a lot of public figures, especially in recent years. A good example would be JK Rowling. I'm convinced the majority of people who hate her do so simply because others do, because it's become a popular trend. I remember watching a video on critical thinking by a teacher, Warren Smith. In this video, Warren challenges a student of his to actually think for themselves on this exact topic. All he did was encourage his students to broaden his perspective and look into the situation himself, using rationality and critical thinking.
So let's get specific though. Let's define bigoted opinions. What opinions are bigoted? We're going to treat this as a thought experiment. I'm not going to say what's right or wrong or what way to think. The whole point is to learn how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
So when you say bigot, you're starting with the conclusion that given her bigoted opinions. First let's start with, does she
This is the way most people start at the conclusion and they work backwards. That's the way that most people think, unfortunately.
bigoted opinions? So when you say bigoted opinions,
She has.
So I guess now that we're looking at
2 minutes later,
there's not much difference between me or her. Do you think it's fair that she's being attacked by a large group of people? And
yeah,
people
is that fair?
Like you said at the beginning of this conversation, you said, given the fact that JK Rowling is transphobic, how do you feel about Harry Potter?
They start
now,
with the conclusion.
Retroactively looking at that statement, do you think that was the best way to phrase?
No, I feel like an idiot now.
Warren Smith then apparently got fired.
Well, no, that makes that kid smarter than 90% of people on the internet. 90% of people on the internet would have never said that. But at the end of that, they would have said, "Oh, bro, you really a transphobe, though. Like, oh, bro, this guy sucks." Yeah, no, actually based. Yeah, based kid. Because not everybody's going to know everything.
From his teaching job for encouraging critical thinking.
So it happened yesterday. I was fired from my full-time teaching position.
Yeah.
This decline in critical thinking is one of the many reasons I believe a lot of people dislike Asmongold. In certain online
people don't like critical thinking because critical thinking breaks down narratives, and a lot of people that are in charge of internet communities have more of a allegiance to a narrative than they do to the community or to truth. And so anybody, like, you think about it like this, right? If you apply critical thinking, you come to conclusions that are inconvenient. Like, for example, I think that trans sports are like one example of that. Or you could look at it with climate change, I would say. Or you could look at it with other types of like human rights. And if you apply critical thinking to these topics and you evaluate them logically, you come to conclusions that are oftentimes oppositional to what side, quote, that you're on. And people don't want to be on the wrong side, because one thing we've learned about the internet is that if you're wrong by 1%, you might as well just be the opposite.
Spaces, especially among specific communities, there's a lot of
You think
hate.
critical thinking has declined? I think that critical thinking has not only has critical thinking declined, I think people have trained themselves for critical thinking to decline. Because people that make mistakes and they critically think for themselves, instead of just repeating what they've already heard and what they're supposed to say, those people get ostracized and they get kicked out of their community. So I think it's even farther than that. I think that people actively try to avoid critical thinking. They're afraid of critical thinking because that could put them in an opposition with people that they're on the same side with.
Towards him that is unwarranted and simply
a lot of
built on
people
lies.
get mad about
The more I looked into this, the weirder this echo chamber became.
Asmongold is just like someone who makes a living off stealing from other people.
He's like, you're a racist motherfucker. Asmongold is a fascist. He's just like actually one of the purest examples of the moderate wing of fascism thing. Also, yes. Asmongold's editor is a Nazi.
So Adolf Jr.
My editor is a Nazi. I guess we're not seeing his point of view. That's too bad. Wow.
You're over here.
This is the fake laugh he does, and I don't respect him at all. I don't know, maybe his audience is like 12-year-old boys. Maybe they really buy this and think it's funny.
He's racist.
Why people hate Asmongold. Okay. And to be fair, I talked to Poke a little bit privately. It seems like we might be able to work things out. So no hate to Poke.
In my research for this video, I genuinely tried to find actual substantial reasons for the hate outside of the lies. I'm an advocate of trying to see both sides' perspectives on any topic.
Jesus, bro, people.
I found quite a few videos on YouTube that I'd like to unpack and try to understand why there is so much hate against Asmongold. First off, by what I've seen, a lot of the hate against Asmongold seems to have stemmed from other YouTubers' disdain for React content. In my
what I found to be really funny about people getting mad about React content is that this has totally done a U-turn. Is that now people are not mad that I'm reacting, they're mad that I aren't reacting. Sorry, that I'm not reacting. Like, there'll be a video that comes out and they'll be mad at me because I haven't watched it. And they saw that, and this happened with like the Elon Musk thing with Quinn's video. It happened with, I remember there was some Bernie Sanders video people wanted me to watch. And then it also happened with the Hassan content nuke from Ethan. And so now the entire narrative has shifted from no longer am I this parasite, but I'm now I'm the ring giver. I'm the person that they want me to react to the video because that legitimizes it. So I think we've totally turned this around.
Researcher stumbled across a video titled Asmongold is Bad, Why I Don't Like Asmongold Videos by a channel called Savior 3.0.
In this video that he's reacting to my video, he's going to talk about how reactions are bad. Okay.
Video we hear the usual rant about React content having a negative impact on other channels and YouTube as a platform.
He gets the benefit from all of this unpaid labor. He gets the benefit from all of this hard work from other content creators, but he doesn't actually have to do any of the heavy lifting.
This YouTuber then played an excerpt from a large and actually pretty popular channel called DarkViperAU.
Oh, we know
where
Dark
he
Viper.
spoke in depth about why React content is bad for channels and the platform as a whole, using Asmongold as the primary example.
This guy has been mad about me for like, I think 4 or 5 years now. It's been crazy how long this guy's been mad.
Over the last few months, I've learned that very few people seem to understand why React content is harmful. React content is a system of exploitation that siphons an incalculable amount of money and exposure away from the hard-working into the pockets of the incredibly lazy.
Dark Viper had some decent points and clearly did a lot of research into this, but somehow in this whole video he missed what I believe is the most important aspect of React content. I'll actually read a comment that I found while watching this video because I think it best describes the problem with this argument. I don't agree with the idea that reaction content is stealing. When watching someone like Asmongold, it's not about the original video content itself, but rather about his personal take and commentary. People watch him because they want to hear his thoughts, see his reactions, and experience his unique perspective. His popularity is built on his personality and how he engages with the content, not just the content itself. Even if he simply talked about the videos without showing them, his audience will still tune in because they're following him and his reactions, not just the video being reacted to. Reaction content requires charisma, personal insight, and the ability to entertain, which is what draws viewers in. This is nearly a perfect comment.
Well, that's why a lot of people watch the videos that I do, right? I mean, there are people that, like, you know, there are people who react, and, like, I remember, you know who really fucking pissed me off about this was Emmy. Oh my fucking god. So, she was gonna watch my video about the steak, and she was watching it with Bonnie. And the entire video, they're not even reacting or talking about the video that I'm doing at all. They just have the video on while they're talking about some other random fucking bullshit. I was losing my mind getting mad about this. I was, they didn't even react the right way.
in the context of Asmongold. But the only thing that is disputable is that not all React content is actually done in good faith.
No.
Some of it is blatant stealing. The Actman has a fantastic video titled The Dark Side of React Content that I completely recommend on this subject. In fact, in his video, he even mentions how Asmongold reacting to one of his videos, yes, affected its viewership negatively, but how he spoke to Asmongold and Asmon agreed to watch his videos a few days after release in the future.
What I realized is that if you're a big creator who's going to react to someone's video, you should wait at least 4 days for it to be pushed in the algorithm naturally. And that's what Asmon and I talked about and agreed on. After
he and I were totally good. Like, I like the Actman a lot. We've talked about that, a number of other things too, in DMs. Yeah, no problems.